The year was 1990, and the Learning Company, also known as TLC, was looking for a new game to add to the ever-growing collection of games teaching kids math, reading, and basic logic skills. Their solution might be familiar to some of you born in the mid-80s to the late 1990s. Welcome to the history of the Super Seeker series.
Released for DOS, for Windows, and for Mac. First up in the series was none other than Treasure Mountain. Originally, it was the third installment in the Super Solver series of games. But once the Super Seeker gained popularity in Treasure Math Storm, it then became the first in a series of 4 Super Seeker games. But back to Treasure Mountain. The game takes place on none other than Treasure Mountain. And soon everything turns to turmoil as the antagonist of the series, the Master of Mischief, steals the crown of the land and hides all of their treasure across the land. This is where you, the Super Seeker, comes to save the day by recovering treasures and dethroning the Master of Mischief.
To dethrone the Master, you must find keys to carry onto the next level of the mountain. To do this, players must capture elves via nets and answer their riddles. Capturing elves that are holding scrolls will grant clues to where the key and treasures are. Elves also give coins, which can be used to buy supplies at the magic shop. Throw coins in front of the signs to buy nets once your old one has depleted. As soon as you gain all 3 keys, you can enter the castle, avoid the Master of Mischief on a set of ladders. Once at the top, you throw your treasures into the castle's chest of treasures and you receive a prize. The prize is kept in the clubhouse to view, forevermore, or until your save game gets deleted, whichever comes first.
You can gain ranks in the game based on how many treasures you collect on your way up the mountain. So, you do have to go through the above process dozens of times before attaining the highest of all ranks. The higher the rank, the more difficult the enemies become, and enemies appear that can steal your coins.
Since the time of year is appropriate, the second of the series is probably the most widely known, Treasure Math Storm.
My favorite.
Remove the nostalgia glasses, Josh.
Yes, Lord.
Now that we have that fixed, released in 1992, the game follows the basic elements of Treasure Mountain, except everything is covered in snow, shortcuts have been removed, and there are a few new characters such as the shopkeeper, and graphical elements have been very much improved. This game focuses much more on math, as the name implies. Players must solve math riddles in mini-games in order to get or build equipment such as ladders and catapults to go to the next level of the mountain. Last of all, players meet a Yeti or Sasquatch that will ask a number, riddle, and if answered correctly, the player will be able to enter the castle, dump all their treasure, and start over again much like Treasure Mountain. Until the Master of Mischief is dethroned once more, the higher the rank, the more difficult the journey. Harder math problems and new enemies such as evil snowballs that steal your coins will appear after a higher rank is attained.
But later in 1992, the next installment was released. Treasure Cove. Its basic learning premise, along with teaching math and logic skills, was to teach kids a little about oceanography. Much like the previous 2 installments, not much changes besides the ocean setting and a few minor graphical updates. The items in your menu are now light, air, and gems. Air keeps track of how many times you can use your air pump to capture things like starfish, which give you hints on where to go next. Instead of a shop to buy an Neds at, you shine your light 5 or more times in front of a seahorse, which then makes out with you, giving you 10 additional bubbles. Who knew? In this game, players need to restore the ruined Rainbow Bridge by collecting many gems hidden around the area. Starfish will give reading or math questions, which will then give you clues as to where gems and pufferfish are hidden. Gems and pufferfish will help stop the pollution that has slowly taken over the cove due to the destroyed Rainbow Bridge. The cove has 3 areas with pipes that need plugging. After finding gems and fixing leaks, the Super Seeker will come up out of the water and add gems to the gem count. And as your rank increases, the Rainbow Bridge extends and enemies that steal your light source become harder to avoid.
Last in the quadrilogy of the Super Seeker Saga is Treasure Galaxy, which was released in 1994. After failing at Treasure Cove, the Master of Mischief heads to a place called Crystal City in the deep depths of outer space. He turns asteroids into vile disasteroids. He shatters the crystals like a terrorist. And that's when the universe's elites are summoned, the Super Seekers of Space.
Your goal is to gather crystals and bring them to the Queen. Instead of catching elves and starfish, you must capture beams of sun and answer their riddles. Much like the other games, after answering a riddle correctly, you will be given part of a cipher code that must be cracked. Once cracked, the satellite will open up, giving you crystals. Once gained, there are 3 separate areas to explore, but not until you've learned the 4-digit passcode. Aliens will give you pieces of the code once you complete the challenge they bestow upon you.
As usual, at higher ranks, the game's difficulty increases that much more and enemies steal your currency, Starbucks, not the coffee maker.
Each of the games received a Windows update via CD-ROM in 1994, which enhanced the graphics and included minor changes. Now, onto our final thoughts.
The games are pretty repetitive in nature.
But they aren't really about the gameplay. Their objective was and is to teach kids basic skills that will help them be successful in school. I personally think that instead of playing all the games, parents should choose one of the 4 based on their child's wants and needs.
This would keep the child from getting bored by playing what is essentially the same game over and over again, except sticking to just one version of it.
The Super Seeker game set out to teach us basic skills that we will use all throughout our lives.
And at that, they were successful, and at the end of the day, that is all that really matters. I'm Job.
And I'm Josh.
And this was the history of the Super Seeker Saga.
Thank you for watching.
Have a good day.
And Godspeed.
Spider-Man.
Oh, God.